The Bengals traded The Bengals acquired quarterback Joe Flacco and a 2026 sixth-round draft pick from the Cleveland Browns for Cincinnati's 26th fifth-round draft choice. And in the process, the Bengals have released quarterback Brett Ripken. Now, so basically, the Bengals got Joe Flacco and a sixth-round pick, and Cleveland got a fifth-round pick. I don't really like... I think you should just you should have just gave him Joe Flacco, and then you got like a sixth-round pick in return. I understand why they had to get rid of a sixth-round pick as well, because Joe Flacco is not really good enough just to Joe Flacco isn't good enough, is not worth of just a fifth-round pick. If anything, Joe Flacco is worth a seventh-round pick at best. But I see why you got that conversation. Now, it is announced that Joe Flacco is going to start this upcoming week. And who is it the Bengals play? Let's look at their schedule right fast. I think the Bengals... they play Green Bay. That is absolutely brutal. At Green Bay. At Lambeau Field. That is just not a great first game. Not the first game that you want to have if you're Joe Flacco. But what do I make of this move for the Bengals? I don't love it. I thought Joe Flacco has been absolutely bad, like, all year. And let's just look at Joe Flacco's stats right now. Joe Flacco in 2025, he has a completion percentage . Hold on, it's a little too big for me. We're just going to do it off this. He has a completion percentage of 58.1%. He has thrown for 815 yards. He has 2 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, and a passer rating of 60. He has been absolutely atrocious in every single way, form, or fashion. He has not been throwing the ball to any of his wide receivers. Jerry Jeudy, bless his heart. Judkins, Dylan Sampson, David Njoku, Fannin Jr., the rookie, bless their hearts. Now that they got Dylan Gabriel, they were able to get a ball. Granted, I know this for myself just because I have David Njoku on my fantasy team along with Dylan Sampson and Quinyon Judkins. So I have a couple of Browns on my fantasy team. So I know that they haven't been getting the ball, and I've watched some of these games, and I just cannot watch the Browns with Joe Flacco at quarterback. It's just, Joe Flacco has just not seemed to capture the magic that he got 2 years ago when he was the backup for the Browns, when Deshaun Watson got hurt, and the Browns seemed to not miss a beat at all, and were able to lead them to a playoff run. And even in the playoff game, he was absolutely abysmal in the playoff game. But, they were able to do stuff with Joe Flacco at quarterback. But it seems like since then, Joe Flacco has just not been it. After this year, Joe Flacco's been in the league forever. Let's see what season this is going to be for Joe Flacco. Geez Louise, his first year was in 2008. So he spent 11 seasons with the Ravens, 1 with the Broncos, 1 with Philly, 3 in New York, 1 with Indianapolis, and 2 in Cleveland. So 11, 12, 13, 16, 17, 19. So this is his 19th season in the NFL. 18th, 19th season in the NFL. And, Joe Flacco, in comparison to players like Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers, he's never going to be a Hall of Famer. So, if anything, his career is further out the door than anything. And also, Joe Flacco has a quarterback rating of 27.6, which ranks 31st among quarterbacks in 2025. He's thrown for 815 yards, which is 26th. He's tied for 36 in touchdowns and 61st in interceptions. So Joe Flacco has been absolutely abysmal. I really would have preferred the Bengals to have got somebody like Jameis Winston, maybe even Russell Wilson. I feel like that's a better option because if you're the Bengals are really still sitting pretty. Their schedule isn't the worst. So you would think, and one would surmise, that the Bengals would have preferred a quarterback that would have been good enough for them to compete and continue to compete for a playoff run, because you're still going to have to play your own division, and that's absolutely brutal to begin with, just to start off. But you still get to play the Jets. You get to play Chicago. You get to play Miami, Arizona. I mean, their schedule is not easy because outside of their division, they got to play Green Bay. They got to play New England. They got to play Buffalo. And you got to... So you got like 3 tough out of division games. And your division games, they're themselves going to be brutal. And you're already sitting at 2-3. You got three straight losses. So I don't think Joe Flacco is the answer. I imagine that Joe Flacco is going to do more of what he was doing in Cleveland, just absolutely stinking it up. Now, maybe since this time he's got actual weapons. I mean, you have a Jamar Chase to throw to. You have a T. Higgins to throw to. Chase Brown in the backfield, he's a pretty good back. But I thought that somebody like Jameis Winston would have been a preferably better option. He at least provides fireworks on the offensive side of the ball, which is what you need. And even Russell Wilson probably would have been better. Or any other type of young quarterback. Heck, maybe even Shedeur Sanders. But we know the Browns were not going to give up Shedeur Sanders. Now let's move on to the main man himself. Then this is what the topic is truly about. What does this mean for Shedeur Sanders? Shedeur Sanders gets one step closer to the apple. When you make a move like this, if you are the Cleveland Browns, you're pretty much sure that Shedeur Sanders could possibly be your guy. And there was an article that recently came out last week. I don't know if it was written by Adam Schefter or Ian Rappaport or whoever, that seemingly stated that many NFL execs in the league think that Shedeur Sanders has a shot to lace them up and suit up and take snaps under center as quarterback 1 at some point in the season. Let's just think about that. Now, granted, Dillon Gabriel, he played okay, didn't turn the ball over, but he didn't make enough plays to ultimately win the game, and you still lost to a pretty depleted Minnesota Vikings roster led by Carson Wentz. And that is something that Cleveland fans should not be happy about. And in the end, I don't think, and you're talking to somebody who does not like Dillon Gabriel at all. I've never been in love with Dillon Gabriel. I didn't like him in college. I didn't think he would even be drafted as high as he was. What was Dillon Gabriel? A 3rd round pick? Way too high. I don't even think he was that good enough. And I thought overall that Shedeur Sanders was and still is the better prospect. I just think Shedeur Sanders, specifically in the preseason, was dealt a pretty bad hand. In this case, now Shedeur Sanders is quarterback 2, so he gets one step closer into being, the quarterback 1 on the roster. Now, something in the Browns' perspective that I do not understand. I don't understand why you start Joe Flacco and then you want to trade him all of a sudden for 5 games into the season. You essentially wasted time into allowing Dillon Gabriel or even Shedeur Sanders a shot at competing for the quarterback 1 role in the preseason in training camp. I guess you wanted to use him as a mentor role. But I imagine at practice, there wasn't a whole lot that Joe Flacco was showing you at practice that would argue him to be the bona fide quarterback one for your ball club. You just cannot convince me. I don't imagine there is anything that Joe Flacco was showing at practice to surmise him being the quarterback one for your ball team. I don't understand it. And we saw what he done with the Colts when he got in there. It was not good. You see what Daniel Jones has been able to do with that same exact roster. Daniel Jones has been able to play some football. So obviously, that is an indictment on Joe Flacco. But I digress. I don't think Shedeur Sanders will start at any point in the next 5 to 6 weeks. I think the only way that Shedeur Sanders sees the ball field is if Dillon Gabriel absolutely plays god-awful football. That's the only way. Because I don't think the Browns organization really wants the headache with Shedeur Sanders starting at quarterback. I don't think they do. Because I don't even think the owner truly, really wanted to draft Shedeur Sanders. I think that was a Kevin Stefanski last-minute call with the GM. And we also, and I talked about it in the past, we all saw the viral clip with the owner and Kevin Stefanski reacting to drafting Shedeur Sanders. It was looking like pretty much they could care less. But if you're talking about a Cleveland Brown fan base who is absolutely hurting, you have not won anything since Jim Brown 60 years ago. You're clamoring for just some sizzle. Deshaun Watson was not able to provide that. Shedeur Sanders brings that. Does he bring unwanted attention? Absolutely. But it's attention, period. And it is something that you need in the NFL. Jerry Jones is bringing to Dallas. You got it with Taylor Swift, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce. You got it in Kansas City. You got it in Josh Allen in Buffalo. Lamar Jackson in Baltimore. All these teams have sizzle, and the reason why you want to watch them. At this point, what makes you want to watch the Browns? I don't want to watch the Browns. I only want to watch the Browns in the hopes of possibly seeing Shedeur Sanders possibly get his chance at quarterback one. That's essentially it, and the reason why I would only want to watch the Browns. But the Bengals, just to get back to them real fast, I think the Bengals are cooked. If you couldn't do anything with Jake Browning, which for some odd reason, to this day, as I'm talking to you guys, I really don't understand the struggles when pertaining to Jake Browning. He was very efficient a couple years ago when Joe Burrow messed up his wrist. But it seems now Jake Browning just forgot how to play football. And he just couldn't do absolutely anything on the offensive end of the floor. I just want to go over Jake Browning's stats just right quick because I know they're absolutely atrocious. So Jake Browning, he has 757 passing yards, 6 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, and a quarterback rating of 35, which ranks 29th in the league. And he has a passer rating of 70. He's just been absolutely atrocious. Absolutely atrocious. And God bless T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, because it's not going to get any better. It's just not. Not for a long time. And yeah, that's all I got to say about that. It's a horrendous situation on both ways. I think the Browns mismanaged Joe Flacco even starting. He should have just been playing mentor and allowed Dillon Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders to get a bite of the apple. And I think the Cincinnati Bengals could have got a whole better option than what they got.